curse of knowledge. This is a common business mistake that a lot of businesses make, especially the sales guys in businesses, with the curse of knowledge. Now that I'm going to share this, you're going to recognize this moving forward. Businesses and salespeople want to impress their customers and start throwing around all kinds of business terms, acronyms, slang, etc. that's used within an industry, and it's completely unfamiliar to a consumer. So if you've ever been talking to a salesman about something and they're just like, oh yeah, we've got the GG02 and the 564 and the Radistat, Johnson Rods, all, and you're like, I don't know what that means. And you start to feel stupid, right? And you start to not understand what that means. You start to tap out, okay? And if you've gone to a website where people have like a lot of tech stuff on the website, that's not necessarily communicating to the audience. And so therefore, they don't connect, okay? Well, when it comes to you as an artist, okay, if you erroneously think that your customer, the consumer, thinks about and consumes music the same way you do, which is a real easy step to make, that becomes a problem. You have to believe and understand that the only reason that you are in this crazy business to begin with is because you experience music in a much more profound manner than your average consumer, right? It's three-dimensional for you. You can hear a mix and everything that goes on in the mix, and the arrangement that the bass players do, and the arrangement that the guitar player's playing, the arrangement that the drummer's playing, the vocal arrangements. You can hear all this. You can see the choices they make, and you can appreciate them on a very, very deep three-dimensional level for the genius that they are. It's not how consumers consume music. Because you hear it this way, you can hear something once and be like, holy crap, that is awesome. And you're immediately turned on. To believe that a consumer is going to behave the same way is wrong. Consumers can't. Their antennae are not as tuned in as yours are. Music doesn't mean what it means to you. It means something for their lives, but it's something much bigger for the artist and for the songwriter. So if you're trying to market your music in a manner that would be effective to other musicians and other artists and other songwriters, that's a mistake, right? Songwriter might get it fast, but that's not true for the consumer. When it comes to songs and advertising messages, political narratives, there's a term in these industries called subconsciously recognizable. And subconsciously recognizable is the moment where your brain stops filtering out information and begins to pay more attention to it. Your brain, I've said this before, but it's worth repeating. The number one physiological job of the human brain is to conserve energy so that the body has enough to digest food to keep it alive. So your brain has the best algorithm in the universe, and it's constantly filtering out information that it does not show your conscious brain because it's not relevant and is not personal to you. So you don't need to spend an ounce of energy thinking about it or worrying about it. I'll give you an example. The car that you drive right now, whether you bought that car brand new and it was your dream car, or whether you bought that car used, and even if it's like a piece of crap, right, like a rust bucket, but it's just it was a good financial choice and it gets you from point A to point B, and that's all you need. There's no surprises here. You know the brand, the automaker, the model number. You've seen a million of these. You're familiar with them. They don't surprise you. You knew you're reasonably sure of what you're getting, at least with the brand and the model that you bought. You like the style. You decided to get it, or you like the price, and yet there's some point between 1 hour and 1 week after you bought that vehicle where you're sitting at a stoplight and you look around and all of a sudden everybody has a Maxima, right? Everybody's got your car. Where did all those cars come from? Right? They were always there. Your brain was just filtering it out. You didn't need to be aware of those now. But now that you own one, it's relevant, it's personal, so now you're going to pay more attention. if you have a sort of a reasonable understanding of what subconsciously recognizable means now, let's take that to the music industry example here. Who knows how many times a person has to hear a song or an advertising message or a political narrative before it becomes subconsciously recognizable, before their brain stops filtering out that information and begins to consciously pay more attention to it. That number's 7. Okay, 7 is the magic number. This is why advertisers always have that same ad going over and over and over again. This is why radio stations have rotational format programming, playing the same stuff over and over and over again to pound it into your head. At 7 times, when one person finally, however many spins it takes in a marketplace to get one person who have heard that song 7 times, back when we were listening to radio, I always have to put that in there, that's when they stop filtering it out and begin to pay more attention to it. It takes a lot more than 7 spins for it to become a hit song in the mind of that consumer. But, and I'm talking about like a debut artist, right? With a debut song, the first 7 go in one ear and out the other because we don't recognize the voice. We don't recognize the song or the hook. We don't recognize the brand name. So therefore, we don't know who it is. If y'all remember Sting when he came, was it Desert Rose, I think was the song? And at this point, Sting's a superstar, a massive, massive superstar. He's a superstar as a solo artist. He came from the Police, which was a massive, massive band. And this particular single started out with an Indian artist. The first 30 seconds or a minute of it was not Sting's voice. It was this Indian artist. It's a beautiful song, but it had a huge problem on the radio because it wasn't recognizable to people, right? They didn't know it was Sting. They're like, who's this Indian guy? And what's this about? So then Sting counteracts that by switching to, he does a Jaguar commercial with the song. And then they're connecting his face with that Indian singer that starts out the song. And that was able to kind of save the campaign for that song. But that's how important this is, right? If you're on a digital platform, and again, you watch a piece of random video content, you're only going to watch it twice. The third time, your brain says, I already saw that. And that's what consumers are going to do, right? So your big epic music video is only probably going to get 2 good spins out of it per person before, if you're lucky, if it's really good. And then they're not going to see it again. So now you have lost the ability to continue to repetitively pound that message in there. You don't have that luxury. So how do you get to 7? How do you make something subconsciously recognizable on a digital platform, like your single or your music video, when they're not going to watch it that many times? And we don't have them captive. They get to decide. Now we're asking the right questions. And you're already starting to formulate some strategies in your mind. Well, how can I put out a lot more content, right? How do you get your song in front of a cold audience enough so their brain stops filtering out your content and start paying more attention to it, right? Hey, how's TikTok break artists? It's the same hook, the same audio hook. Gonna ride my horse down the old town road. Gonna ride till I can't ride no more. Man, over and over and over. Same hook, different video content, right? It's just the hook synced to different video content. Everybody's doing their little dance or whatever. So you can say, oh, well, I guess you got to go viral to break on TikTok, and maybe that's true, but the mechanics of how that works is still sound marketing advice, right? It's a different piece of video content synced to the same audio hook. So now I'm going down this rabbit hole and seeing all these different sort of interpretations of a hook, visual interpretations of a hook, and I'm listening to the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See? That's why TikTok's breaking artists, because of the way that works. So why can't you manufacture that on a digital platform? You also have the curse of knowledge, too, in the way that your behaviors are in terms of marketing and merchandising decisions. It's a scary fact, by the way, that 30% of your buyers, whoever buys merch, whoever buys your music, whatever, 30% of your buyers are going to be willing to be upsold if they have a deal that's put on the table for them to save money on. They'll spend more. Which means that 70% of people aren't that frivolous with their cash, right? They're not that impulsive with their cash. They're going to, I'm just going to buy a t-shirt. That's it. Which means that the vast majority of people behave and are much less impulsive with their money than the 30% minority. But if you were to approach with the curse of knowledge your marketing plan on your website, and you say, well, I've got these t-shirts, 1, 2, 3 different t-shirts. I got a hat, I got a koozie, I got a keychain, I got these things here, and I'm just going to sell them digitally. And if everybody wants to buy them separately, they can buy them separately, but I'm not going to bundle them up because I would never do that. I hate it when that happens. All those things can be true, and I'm telling you that you're leaving money on the table, right? So if I have a big bundle where I can save a boatload of cash as a consumer and I can get all these things, you're moving more product, you're making more money, and I just took somebody from, a $25 sale to a $75 sale, right? 30% of them are going to want to be upsold if there's a deal on the table. So you want to be bundling on your website stores. You want to be bundling on your merch tables. Hey, here's all the merch. Get a big savings with the bundle. And if you do the numbers on that, which I have digitally, it comes out like it's freakishly on point, like 30%. But again, we think about what we would do, how we would do something. I wouldn't want to do that, so I'm not going to do that. Well, put the bundle out there. If you are not that frivolous with your money, you're in the majority of the way people deal with their money. You're not impulsive. But let's not forsake the impulsive people. This is your freaking life we're talking about. Let them get more stuff for less money.